Good afternoon. Welcome to 3 o'clock with SOC. Give me a second while I welcome our Spanish-speaking neighbors. Buenas tardes, gracias por estar con nosotros esta tarde a las 3 p.m. con SOC. Si quieren acceso al programa en español, por favor marcan el número 425-436-6200. Cuando le contestan la llamada, por favor compartan el clave o contraseña que empieza con el número 6, que es 627-682. Thank you for being with us today, this May 18th, 2020 at 3 o'clock with SOC. We have a great program for you today, keeping you up to date on the latest regarding the coronavirus and civic engagement, including the census and programs and services. I want to let you know what is coming up this week. You don't want to miss the forum. Today, we have Mayor Tom Barrett with us. On Wednesday, we have Emilio de Torre from the ACLU. On Thursday, our Health Commissioner, Jeanette Kowalik, will be back with us. And on Friday, we have Jean Gerasi, the Executive Director of the Benedict Center, and we are going to be talking about our strategic partnership to address women involved in street prostitution via a public health diversion program. We're so happy that you're here with us. My name is Tammy Rivera. I'm the Executive Director of Southside Organizing, or SOC, or SOC, if you're an old schooler. We create a platform here to ensure that residents have a voice and a vote and a vehicle to organize. Because of that, we have to also share that we don't always share the views and opinions of the folks that participate in the forums. Our job is to create the discussion and bring information to you. So the views and opinions shared today may or may not necessarily reflect those of SOC. I want to remind you that we haven't missed a day with you. We have been here since the pandemic started in all the ways you usually can reach us, except for in person, and we are looking forward to when we can do that again. Please know you can reach us at 672-8090, the same phone number. You can email us at soc@socmilwaukee.org, and you can visit our website where we have a full page dedicated to information, resources, and ways you can take action in response to the coronavirus. With that, we want to get right into our guest and our topic for the day. We'd like to invite our newly re-elected Mayor, Tom Barrett, to join us. Mayor Barrett, welcome. We're not hearing.
Well, thank you for the Tammy Rivera Show. Whoops, let's see. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Uh-oh, we have a little problem then. Let's see.
We're going to work this out.
Take that off. Now you should be able to hear me.
Sometimes we have technical difficulties, but we'll work it out together.
All right, let's see what we have here. It looks like it's working from this end.
Mayor Tom Barrett with us from his home, I believe.
Can you hear me now?
I'm the only one who can't hear him. So we're going to I'm going to check my mic. Hold on one second.
Okay.
It seems like it's my mic that's having the problem. Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well. I can hear you very well.
Sorry, it was my headphones, Mayor Barrett. Welcome.
All is forgiven. All is forgiven.
Congratulations on being elected to our city leadership once again.
Well, thank you very much. As I said, it's great to be on the Tammy Rivera Show. And I'm glad the election's behind us. I don't necessarily feel like I'm on a honeymoon because I would say we didn't even take a day off on election day with all the COVID-19 stuff that's going on. It has been 24 hours, 7 days a week to try to the way I described it, it's like drinking water out of 7 fire hoses.
Oh, for goodness sake, it sure
just
is.
trying through these turbulent waters. But I think we're making progress right now, and I'm delighted to have the opportunity to speak with you, just to talk about where we are.
I'm glad you're here. The last time we were together, you were with us for our community forum on hate crimes, if you remember. And that was a
Of
very,
course I do.
yeah, that was a very important day. We're glad you were with us during that difficult time, and we're glad you're here with us today. So, really, what we'd like is an opportunity, since the Wisconsin Supreme Court struck down the safer at home at the state level, we want to help our residents understand what Milwaukee is doing in response to that decision or continuing to do. So if we could take maybe 10, 15 minutes to talk about that,
Sure.
then we'd like to talk about the spring election in order to prepare for the fall election.
Sure, I'm happy to talk about both of those. So let me start with where we are right now with the COVID-19 and the legal status. As you mentioned last week, Wednesday, I think the Wisconsin Supreme Court, on a 4-3 vote, including one vote by a justice who had recently been defeated, struck down Governor Evers' safer at home order. What's interesting about that is when he issued that order, which was back on May 25th or so, some people, not all people, but some people didn't realize that the city of Milwaukee, just hours before the state issued an order, that we had issued our own safe at home order. So when the Supreme Court's decision came down, that had no impact whatsoever on the order that we had promulgated, that our health commissioner, Jeanette Kowalik, had promulgated on the morning of March 25th. So that order was still in place. And I know there was some confusion. I know, for example, a Tavern League sent out a text message saying bars were open. Well, they weren't open in Milwaukee. Or at least they weren't open legally. So that order was in place. That same night that the Supreme Court acted, the 19 or 18 suburbs in Milwaukee County, they issued an order that is set to expire Thursday at midnight. And that was an order that we had worked very closely with them on. The following morning, we issued an order that's very, very similar to the order that the suburbs have, although it does not expire automatically at midnight. So this is a long way of saying that we still have an order in place. It deals primarily with sizes of gatherings. You can't have gatherings more than 10. The restaurants and bars will continue to be closed except for takeout service. It does, as the state order does, allow retail, and it allows barbershops and salons, nail shops to operate under some pretty well-defined rules. And in fact, what we did on Saturday is Barbicide, which is a local company that's involved in the healthcare field. We co-hosted a webinar just like this, and we had close to 1,000 people to hear about the changes. And so I would advise, if you have any people here at barbershops or beauty salons or nail shops, that they should consult that webinar or look at the rules that are in place. So the big question, of course, is how long is all this going to last? As I said, the suburbs, their order is going to expire midnight on Thursday. I'll be speaking to our health commissioner, Jeanette Kowalik. I've spoken to her several times already today. We'll be speaking several times over the next day or two to determine what course of action she takes. And I use my words carefully there because the way this has transpired is I've made the decision, as have many, I would say, responsible public officials, to follow the health and to follow the public health experts. And she's the one that I have conferred with. She, along with her staff, are the ones that I've conferred with so that we know exactly what the next steps are. Obviously, with Memorial Day weekend coming up, the desire to have much nicer weather, people want to be outside, and we understand that. But I think people should keep in mind, we're still dealing with a pandemic here. And in Milwaukee County alone, we probably have 5,000 cases that have been submitted or recorded. We probably have more than that. We have 230 some deaths. So what we have seen, and I'm very pleased about this, over the last 3 days, the number of deaths have dropped to 1 a day. Earlier in the springtime, there were a lot more than that, but we've had 3 deaths in the last 4 days. And so those numbers have gone down significantly. So that's a good sign. But I think what we all would agree on is we all want to get life back to normal. Everybody wants to get life back to normal. I think that we need to do that in a way that's responsible, that follows the public health advice that we're receiving at the local, state, and federal levels. But I understand where people, they want to get paychecks, they want to open businesses, they want to get outside and enjoy the good weather when it comes or when it returns. So we are spending a lot of time analyzing the data and talking to the public health experts so that we can move forward as quickly as possible. So that's primarily where we are right now. So I would say stay tuned. There's more coming, and I would say in the next, obviously it's not going to be months. I would say weeks or even days, we're going to see some significant changes.
That's great to hear. What would be the number one message you want to make sure our Southside residents hear as we move forward and try to keep folks safer at the same time as trying to make sure our business community continues to function? What's the one message?
By far, the message I could give is that the social distancing remains incredibly important. And just a quick 2-month history here. This goes back to March when I first looked at the dashboard as to where we were seeing positive COVID-19 results. It was primarily in the central city on the north side. And it was in the area around Sherman Park, and then it went over near Lincoln Park, and then it went northwest there to what I would say probably some nursing homes or long-term care facilities on the northwest side. And we were seeing very, very low numbers on the south side, very low numbers on the south side. That has changed dramatically. That has changed dramatically over the last 3 weeks, where we have seen a dramatic increase. In fact, I would say the largest group, without a doubt, of positive readings that we're seeing are coming out of the areas where our Hispanic population lives. And so this sends a strong message, I think, to people who live on the south side, just how important these social distancing measures are, how important to remind yourself it is safer to stay at home, how it's important to take the steps and wear a mask when you're in the public. These are all things that are very, very commonplace. But on a per capita basis, I think we're almost at a point, and we might be at the point, where our Hispanic population is the hardest hit population for positive readings. We are still seeing a much higher fatality rate among the African American population, without a doubt. We're seeing more people who are African American die. We're seeing more men die than women. And I would say in the positive readings, what I've watched over the last several weeks is the age at which people are diagnosed with COVID-19 has gotten much younger. And now this is just my supposition, is that's because we're getting a lot of readings from Hispanic people who live on the south side of Milwaukee. That to me is a major concern right now, and people should know that.
So folks, we need to abide by the safer at home guidelines. The community will continue to open up as we hit our benchmarks. Now, let's talk about the election. We were so concerned, I'm sure as you were, about the spring election that took place despite the risk to the coronavirus and despite the safer at home order. What are your thoughts on the spring election? And then now, more importantly, what can we do this fall just to plan ahead?
Well, I'll just say very, very briefly, I would say that the spring election, the April election, was a fiasco. It was a fiasco. And as I told the governor days before the election, I said, this is going to be a problem in Milwaukee because what happened was initially the governor and the legislative leaders said that they were going to move forward with the election. And I understood that. And I said, okay, well, that's the decision. I'm going to back that decision. But after about a week of having our early voting sites open, we started seeing a dramatic drop in people who were willing to come to work to the point where we had to close down those early voting locations because we couldn't get enough people to man them. So it was a very practical concern. When the governor's safer at home order came out, which is the same day that our city order came out, we were seeing poll workers literally drop dozens in an hour, where they were saying, we're not going to show up. And this did not happen only in Milwaukee. I was on a conference call like this on Saturday. The same exact thing happened in Green Bay. You saw drop-offs in places like Racine as well. People were afraid, and particularly because so many people who work at our polls are older people. They made the decision that they weren't going to go. And I had a real ethical decision that I faced, and that was, if I felt it was unsafe for them to be there, how could I, in good conscience, ask anyone to be there and be there for 13 hours? And so it was a big problem. And we knew we had to, moving forward, if there was going to be an election, that we were going to have to have it be a marriage between our election commission and our health department. So that's why at the sites that we did have open, you saw a lot of people from our health department, because we were so concerned about what the ramifications were. I believe that what we had in April was the largest public event in the United States, in the entire country, during the month of April. And I think it was so irresponsible. So what's happened since then? Since then, the Common Council has adopted a file that I eagerly signed that said that we would send out applications for absentee for both the August and the November election. I think that that's important. Again, on Saturday, I met with mayors of Racine, Kenosha, Green Bay, and Madison, and we all discussed how do we move forward in this COVID period to have safe elections. And so drop boxes will be part of this. I think you'll certainly see an emphasis placed on early voting. I think that's very, 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 very important. I think you will have a reduced number of sites. Hopefully it'll be more than 5, but it's not going to be 180. And what we saw is 80% of the people who voted absentee. And that means they either voted in person absentee, or they filled out an absentee ballot and put it in. So we're going to continue to make aggressive efforts to have that happen. We're going to have drop boxes, as we did in April, where there will be witnesses available. I would very much like to see people, and this is where it gets challenging, because I understand where there's technological challenges. And I can say that because it was a little bit of a challenge for me. And I have cell phones and I've got computers to upload my photo ID to get an absentee ballot. Mm-hmm. It took me a little time to figure it out, and thank God my wife was there, and she said, I did it. It's easy. It's easy. But I did it, but it didn't come just like that. I couldn't snap my fingers. It was there. So I want to see us have an effort where we ask people to upload their photo IDs now. And so if there's any message I could have, is this is the time to start uploading your photo ID so that you don't run into any problems for the August or November elections. We'll be looking for poll workers, obviously. So there's a lot of work to be done, but I know that we'll be up to the task.
We're glad that the Common Council took that action, and looking forward to all kinds of ways we can all cooperate for everyone's democracy to be protected. Before you go, Mayor, you want to give us an update on the DNC that people were so eagerly awaiting? Do we have any news there?
Oh, sure. I just this morning talked to Joe Salmonese, who's heading the convention. I would say right now, obviously, we're still moving forward. There's no question we're moving forward. We're not going to need as many hotels. And so I would say the first hotels that will be released will be the hotels in Illinois, because we were going to be using a number of hotels for delegates because of the rush. I don't see 50,000 people coming. I hope it's thousands. And I'll tell you my hope. My hope is that we will be at a point in mid-August where we can use this as a jumping off to bring back our restaurants and our hotels. There've been a lot of questions, even over the last weekend, about, okay, how late can we be before we make changes? And my response has been, let's be nimble. We can be nimble on this because it's very fluid. And ironically, or in reality, let's face it, it's not like there are going to be a lot of other events in the middle of August that have to be rescheduled. So that does give us some flexibility. But we know for certain that the Democrats are going to nominate a president. presidential candidate. I hope it's a presidential candidate, Joe Biden. And we know they're going to do it here. And what form that takes, I think, is very, very much in play. But again, I spoke to Joe just this morning to get an update, and he's still very upbeat and wants this to be a really good convention for the Democrats, but he wants to be a good convention for Milwaukee and Wisconsin as well. And I'm pleased to hear that.
That's great to hear that it's moving forward, and it looks like there may be still some opportunity for people to take advantage of that event. We're going to stop and say hello to a couple of friends who are saying hello here, Mayor Barrett, and see if there's any questions. Hello, Cindy, Maribel, Gary, Donovan, Felix, Dulce, Jetty, Michelle.
The place is packed.
It is. Uriel. There's a question. Mayor, are the police still enforcing the stay-at-home order in the health department with fines and arrests? Do we know what's happening there?
I don't know that there have been arrests. I would say that it's still very, very much education. Where the major shift is occurring right now, because I was just on a call this morning on our morning update. In the last 2 days, the police have been required to serve quarantine orders. And what that means is individuals who have tested positive who refuse to stay home. So that's where I think you're going to see the police putting their action now. Again, as we loosen things up, I would say unless you have a deliberate and willful violation, I would be surprised if the police did enforce it. Again, our long has been this should be for educational purposes, and quite honestly, let's face it, municipal courts aren't open right now. The DA's office isn't doing a lot of this area, so it's really more education than anything. But if you've got a reading, you better stay at home, or you are going to get the police at your door with a quarantine order.
Thank you for that clarification, Mayor Barrett. Thank you for being with us. We appreciate the latest on Milwaukee. It's true, you've been with us consistently, and we appreciate your presence.
All right. Thank you very much, Tam.
Be safe.
Care. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Again, grateful for our leadership joining us for our forums to make sure that you're getting direct information from original sources here locally, and so that we're clear on what we can and can't do. The mayor's message, please abide by the safer at home order, which is still in place for Milwaukee. The big takeaway there, no more than 10 folks getting together. Some good news, which is it looks like for the first couple of days, the deaths from coronavirus here have dropped to less than 1 a day. And then we were talking about the election, and so trying to put things into place. So for the August and November elections, there'll be much more ability to vote, not in person, have a bunch of different options available. I mean, in addition to in person. So we should have more availability to do that. And then looking for poll workers for the elections, that has been a challenge. And then in terms of enforcing the Milwaukee Moves Forward or Safer at Home here in Milwaukee, people are getting notices when they must quarantine. So very grateful to hear that direct information from the mayor. With us now, a coronavirus update from Taylor Herrera.
Eric and I are here at the UMOS testing site, and we are going to get tested for COVID-19. So far, it's just a really long line, everyone.
Just waiting.
While we wait, here's a tip for glasses wearers wearing masks. What helps me prevent fog in my glasses is pulling my mask up all the way as far as I can and getting the little cushions that sit on my nose to sit on top of the mask, and that usually helps. And once you get past the big line, then they wave you down into a line for the tent. So now we're waiting in that line. Just talked to one of the people on staff here, and he was making sure that he was wanting to make sure that everyone knows that testing is available and asking folks that are in line to spread the word about testing. The line was about 30 minutes, and we're now about 2 cars away from the tent to get tested. So definitely come down and get tested. It's available for anyone, free, and I'll let you know what kind of paperwork they have us sign and fill out in a moment. Okay, so update. They come to your car door, to your car window, and they fill out all the paperwork for you, so you don't touch any pens or anything. They ask your name, your phone number, and address. They can reach you out if they need to, and your ethnicity. They don't ask you for any ID or anything like that. And then they will call you within 3 to 5 days. They will they will try calling twice, and if you don't answer on the second call, they ask you to please call your local health department. So that's that. I'll post a picture of the paperwork they gave me.
It's gonna be uncomfortable but painless, alright?
Okay. Okay, we just finished getting tested, both of us. So first, they give you a tissue and they tell you to blow your nose in the tissue, and that's just to clear your whatever mucus are in there out first. And then they tell you they're gonna swab your both nostrils about 1 inch inside and turn it 4 times. So they did that. It didn't hurt at all. It just tickled. It felt weird, like your finger went too far in your nose, but it did not hurt. So that was that. Eric sneezed afterwards, but the good thing is that the testers are wearing hazmat suits, so they are totally protected.
That was a great practical video on what takes place if you go get a free COVID test by UMOS at, I believe it's 2701 South Chase Avenue. Good to know. Thank you for the folks that put that together and shared that. It's always helpful to understand really what's going to happen when you do something. It takes all the fear and confusion out. Want to say a couple of other hellos. Hola, Eliazar. Hola, Carmen. Hola, Diana. Diana has a question. Diana, I didn't see it before the mayor left, but we'll get an answer to that. We'll ask our staff to look into what does the quarantine order that the police enforce consist of? So we're going to get that answer for you. Hola, señor Arce. Hola, Murray. Good to see you all here with us. Hola, Michelle. Thank you. She has a question. How will you have the DNC then? Although the mayor didn't speak to that specifically, the DNC is still trying to work out whether they're going to do that in person and or virtually. And so time will tell how fast these next couple of weeks go. But I know as involved in some meetings where people were sharing that. Hola, Dulce. Not sure that I caught you on the last round. What other questions do you have now that we've heard the mayor give us an update so that we can make sure we get answers? We collected some questions ahead of time or while he was here. Let's see. Go ahead and put questions. We've collected the ones I've shared so far. If you have any other things that you're curious or confused about or want an answer to, please go ahead and put that in the comments and we'll get answers for you right away. With that, we want to remind people, yes, being safe and the coronavirus is at the top of our priorities for life now, of course. And then during the election, that was our main thrust of how we were going to manage that process of being able to express our vote. And then now I want to just remind you something very important is happening this year, and it's the census, which takes place every 10 years. And so we cannot lose sight of how important and the effects of filling or not filling the census out are. And with that, Gabe, our civic engagement manager, has found some great instructional and inspirational videos, and we have one to share now.
Taking the census is as easy as making a mangonada. It takes 10 minutes to fill out the census. Starting March 12th, the Census Bureau will be sending out letters with instructions on how to take the census. You can take the census several different ways: by mail, by phone, or online. Any information you share is confidential, and everyone should take the census, even if you're undocumented. Taking the census is safe, easy, and a powerful way for your voice to be heard. If you want more information, go to WeCountCensus.com.
Thank you again, Gabe, for getting us a whole collection of those informational videos. It's very short. I did it for me and my family. I helped my other son do it. It takes like 6-7 minutes to get it done, and the consequences of that are of great importance to us. It determines our congressional seats, our representation politically, and the distribution of the federal taxes we pay into. How they get redistributed by state is based on our population. So those potholes, schools, and other infrastructure for our city gets allotted or allocated based on that. We want to do that. Let's see if we have any other questions before I go to the next section. Hola, Ofelia. Diana, yes, we do have Spanish version of the census videos that we can share, and we'll make sure that they're at our website so that you can have them. Right now, so you all know, we broadcast this forum simultaneously in Spanish. Folks call into a conference line. They can participate in the Facebook forum, and then they're hearing the information immediately in Spanish. So we have several resources on our webpage. That's www.socmilwaukee.org that you can get, and they're in English and many are in Spanish. Anything that they've put out that is in Spanish, we try to make that available for you all. Now I'd like to invite on our communications manager, Marisol Diaz, to remind us of our engagement promotion.
Hi, Community Forum. Reminding you of our daily $25 gift certificate drawing by filling out the survey located in the comments section. In the following day's forum, we'll announce the winner. It's a quick 5-question survey, and you can enter daily and win daily. Thanks for those of you who have been filling them out, and thanks for tuning in. Now let's find out who's today's winner.
Congratulations, Luis Mendez. You're the winner from yesterday's survey participants. And please send us an email at soc@socmilwaukee.org to claim your certificate, and our staff will respond and walk you through that process. Again, I want to remind you all what's coming up this week. We have Emilio de Torre from the ACLU. We have Health Commissioner Jeanette Kowalik back on the forum to give us an update. We have Jean Gerasi, the Executive Director of the Benedict Center, and we're in a strategic partnership with them to do a diversion program for women involved in street prostitution. And so you can imagine how the coronavirus has impacted some of our population, some of our residents, including the women from the Sisters program. And so we want to make sure that we are sharing information and working together to help our entire community. I want to thank you for being here with us, and want to challenge you all to continue to help us by filling out the survey. I'm going to tell you again, this is our second month doing the online forum because, as I said earlier, since we can't be with you in person, and that's how we do our work as community organizers, this is the one of the ways that we're reaching you. And so we want to know what's working for you, what we could change or add, and also it's the way that we demonstrate to our funding partners that we've gotten your feedback. And so please fill out the survey. It takes just a few minutes. We have a great group with us today. How about, can I get half a dozen of you to commit to filling out the survey? It only takes a quick minute. You can click the link. Let's put that back on the Facebook comments again. It takes just a few minutes. And when you do it, you enter to win a $25 gift certificate. And so it's a win for us. We know you all are hurting, many of you economically during this time. It's a win for you, and it's a win for our local business community that has been hurting. And so you get to select which one of the local businesses that support SOC you want the $25 gift certificate from. So again, it's a win for everyone. Okay, Carmen has agreed. Lily has agreed. Diana has agreed. How about if we can get 3 more of our viewers today to commit? Dulce, 2 more. It's really important that we get those. And yesterday, Friday, you all helped us to meet our goal, Maribel. So we just need 1 more person to agree to fill out the survey to meet our challenge today. And Jetty, thank you, thank you, thank you. Marianne también. Thank you, Marianne. So grateful for your participation. With that, we want to share with you who are those funding partners that make sure that we can provide you programs and services, work with and for you, and who partnered to make sure that we could be here during this very challenging time. Uriel también, thank you, Uriel. Appreciate it very much. So be safe, Ruby. Thank you, Ruby. Be safe and remember to be back. Tomorrow we have a great week for you.